Carl Jung documented why people with what we now call empathic abilities face a cruel psychological paradox. Their greatest gift becomes the source of their deepest pain. He discovered that empathic individuals unconsciously attract people who project their shadow onto them, people who resent the empath's emotional freedom because it reminds them of their emotional numbness. Jung found that the more authentic and radiant someone becomes, the more they threaten others' psychological defenses. What Jung called shadow projection creates a pattern where empaths are simultaneously sought after and secretly despised for possessing what others have lost within themselves. Today, I'll reveal Jung's most disturbing discovery about empathic psychology and why he believed this pattern either destroys sensitive individuals completely or transforms them into exactly what humanity needs. Through his clinical practice, Jung observed individuals with extraordinary empathic abilities who seemed to magnetize people who would eventually turn against them with inexplicable hostility. These empaths possessed what Jung called luminous emotional authenticity. They could sense others' pain instantly, respond with genuine compassion, and create safe spaces where people felt truly understood. Yet every close relationship followed the same devastating pattern. People would confess their deepest secrets, find healing in their presence, and experience profound emotional relief. Then, without warning, they would begin criticizing them, undermining their confidence, and eventually abandoning them, often blaming them for being too intense or too much. Jung realized he wasn't observing a simple relationship dysfunction. He was witnessing what happens when unconscious people encounter someone who has maintained a connection to their authentic feeling function. If you've ever been criticized for being too emotional or too intense, write this in the comments. My empathy is not too much. Others are too numb. Jung's research revealed that most people disconnect from their authentic emotions early in life as a survival mechanism. They learn to suppress sensitivity, hide vulnerability, and operate from false personas that gain social acceptance but cost them their emotional aliveness. What Jung called empaths fall into the mirror trap. Their authentic presence automatically triggers others' repressed emotions and buried pain. This creates intense discomfort in people who have built their entire identity around emotional numbness. The person experiences what Jung identified as projection amplification. They unconsciously blame the empath for making them feel emotions they've spent years avoiding. The empath becomes responsible for pain that existed long before they entered the picture. Jung noted something even more disturbing. People often seek out empaths specifically because their unconscious recognizes what they've lost. They're drawn to the emotional aliveness they observe, yet simultaneously resent it because it exposes their emotional death. Jung documented how this manifests through 4 distinct patterns of unconscious attack. The emotional critic, people who specifically target empaths' emotional responses. These individuals have suppressed their feelings so completely that witnessing authentic emotion triggers unconscious shame about their emotional deadness. They constantly tell empaths their emotions are wrong, excessive, or inappropriate. The authenticity attacker. These individuals unconsciously resent empaths for being genuine because they've built their entire identity around false personas. They criticize empaths for being too real when they simply haven't learned to hide behind social facades. If you've ever dimmed your authentic self to make others comfortable, comment, "I will no longer shrink to fit their emotional limitations." The vulnerability violator, AMT. People who specifically target empaths' openness and trust. They've been hurt so badly that they've closed their hearts completely and unconsciously punish empaths for maintaining emotional availability. The light dimmer. The most dangerous type Jung encountered was people who systematically worked to diminish empaths' confidence in their gifts. They use subtle psychological manipulation to convince empaths that their natural empathy is a problem to be fixed rather than a gift to be honored. Jung identified 3 specific dangers that made this dynamic a serious threat. Authenticity, erosion. Constant exposure to resentment causes empaths to doubt their emotional reality. They start suppressing their natural responses to fit in with people who can't tolerate authentic emotion. Jung called this the dimming epidemic. Psychological self-betrayal. Empaths internalize the criticism, beginning to see their empathy as a flaw rather than a gift. They become their emotional assassin, attacking their nature with the same violence others have directed toward them. Collective emotional stagnation. When empaths suppress their authenticity, humanity loses its emotional pioneers. Jung called this emotional evolution arrest, when the people most capable of advancing collective emotional intelligence are forced into hiding. Jung developed what I call the authentic self-preservation protocol, a systematic approach to maintaining empathic gifts while protecting against unconscious projection. Phase 1 involves recognition and validation first. Recognize that the resentment you face isn't personal. It's a shadow projection from people who have lost connection to their feeling function. The hatred directed toward your authenticity is self-hatred being projected outward. Phase 2 is boundary crystallization, developing what Jung called energetic boundaries, the ability to maintain authentic expression while protecting yourself from others' unconscious projections. This involves learning to distinguish between genuine feedback that serves growth and projection-based attacks designed to dim your authentic self-expression. If you're ready to protect your empathic nature while serving those who can receive it, comment, "I choose conscious empathy over unconscious absorption." Phase 3 involves selective engagement. The final phase involves conscious relationship choices, connecting deeply with people who appreciate authenticity while maintaining distance from those who resent it. Jung emphasized that empaths serve no one by dimming their feeling function to accommodate those who prefer emotional numbness. Jung emphasized that empaths need what he called vibrational sanctuary, relationships with others who appreciate rather than resent authentic emotional expression. Jung identified 3 types of safe relationships. 1. Fellow empathic individuals who share similar gifts. 2. Emotionally evolved non-empaths who appreciate empathy as a gift. 3. Conscious light appreciators who support authentic emotional expression. Recognition signals include the following. They ask about your emotional experiences with curiosity rather than judgment. They appreciate your empathic insights. They protect your emotional energy rather than draining it, and they encourage your authentic expression rather than asking you to dim it. Jung identified 4 stages of integration. Stage 1 is recognition without suppression. Learn to recognize resentment as projection rather than accurate feedback. Jung called this projection immunity. Stage 2 involves boundary development without hardening. Create energetic protection while maintaining emotional openness. Jung called this selective permeability. Stage 3 is community creation without compromise. Stop trying to gain acceptance from those who resent authenticity and focus on building relationships with those who appreciate it. Stage 4 involves service without sacrifice. Use empathic gifts to help others while maintaining strong boundaries. Jung called this authentic service, giving from overflow rather than depletion. Jung's most important discovery wasn't that people resent empaths' authenticity. It's that this resentment reveals humanity's unconscious grief over its lost emotional truth. Those who resent your authenticity are usually mourning their abandoned feeling function. Their hostility toward your emotional aliveness reveals their grief over their own suppressed emotional truth. Your empathic nature isn't too much for this world. This world has simply become too disconnected from its emotional potential. You're not broken because others can't tolerate your feeling function. They're wounded because they've learned to tolerate emotional numbness. The question isn't whether people will resent your authenticity. The question is whether you'll protect your feeling function while having compassion for those who have lost theirs. Jung believed that protected empaths serve a vital evolutionary function. They model what healthy emotional expression looks like while helping others reconnect with their own buried authenticity. They are bridges between humanity's emotional past and its emotional future, keepers of authentic feeling in a world that has forgotten how to feel. Your light doesn't need to dim. Their capacity to appreciate authenticity needs to brighten. You are not too much for anyone. The right people will celebrate your empathic gifts, while the wrong people reveal themselves through their resentment of what they can no longer access within themselves. If you recognize yourself in Jung's description, you're part of a rare group that Jung believed essential for humanity's emotional evolution. Share in the comments which type of light resentment you've experienced. Your journey toward authentic self-preservation connects with others walking the same path.